This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, good morning. It's Monday, June 17th. It is the 9 o'clock a.m. meeting of the Senior Center Building Committee. We call the meeting to order at 9:02. Open time for the public. Do you have any open time?
I don't.
Oh, you don't, or you do?
I don't.
You don't, okay, thank you. Welcome. Approve minutes, so for Darcy. Libby got this, is why I keep calling Darcy Libby and Libby Darcy. Can I blame you guys, not me? So, any comments or thoughts on the minutes? And we'll do the executive session minutes at the end of this meeting. Any comments or thoughts or motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. One down. Okay, additional discussion on 117 and 125 and anything about the ballot question. I did bring a copy of the article from the Reminder where he bounced all over the place, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We referred to the old feasibility committee.
Kills you.
Oh, I know. Still searching for a new senior center site, yes.
I
So-
didn't see that one.
This is the.
I'll pass it around. Oh, you have it? Chris, you have a copy of it, so.
Did anybody see the Gazette? Like, they had the first part, and then I couldn't find the page for the second part. Like, it said to like go to page 7, and I searched page 7, and
I
I'm like,
found it, but I don't think it was on page 7.
I flipped through, I'm like, where is the other half?
Has there only been one visitor?
I think this was on that Floyd newsletter. wasn't
Yeah, it was in the Floyd newsletter.
Yeah, I read it on there.
Okay, I'll pass
Yeah.
it. I don't know if Scott's seen it or not, but my attempt was to justify the fact that Labrie wasn't our first choice and explain why at the time it wasn't our first choice and why it's a viable option today. I'm not quite sure that caught the gist of that attempt, but certainly, and it was before our last meeting where
Right.
we approved to.
The timing is.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was 2 weeks ago. It was, like the Friday before our meeting, and I said we have a meeting, so I was hoping he maybe would tune into the meeting, but unfortunately, he wasn't aware. And I thought it was gonna be in that Thursday, so I didn't pursue it, but it was delayed a week, and it was after our vote to put our building there, so. So anyway, but we did vote to put our senior center and support that location for a new senior center building. And we did offer to contribute. Is it okay to, and we passed it at executive session. Scott, is it okay to mention the amount we agreed to contribute? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, so we did agree to contribute up to $100,000 towards the purchase of the property in order to secure, those 4 acres be deeded for a new senior center only. So when it does pass the ballot, we will work to that desire and figure out what area will be deeded out once we own the property. So, but we did agree to do up to $100,000 towards the procurement. So, any other comments or?
Just procedurally, if it passes on the 25th, what happens right after? So quickly, it's purchased. Is there any other things that need to happen?
So we'll have the purchase and sale, and then they have approval to purchase the property. Then the treasurer would have to go through the borrowing process.
Okay.
And at the same time, we would finish up any title searches, the wetland delineation, any other.
Okay, so you have all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, our $100,000, we want to get in there before you, right? It's $100,000 you're going to borrow, it's less.
Yeah,
100,000
it'll
less,
defray the
that's-
costs,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just, okay.
Which is we're still ahead of the game with that decision.
Yeah, so that's known now, but people are already voting, so I mean, they may or may not hear that. I mean,
Yeah, right,
They're
yeah.
gonna come to the ballot box assuming, well, they know the purchase price is 2.2, so.
Right.
They're not gonna know much different.
They're not gonna know much different,
No.
yeah, other than that, so.
So it's only
Okay.
really when we come to the time of borrowing, if I'm correct, that then we would say, oh, well, we really don't need that much because we have X amount. of
Right.
land.
Right.
Maybe.
Is there gonna be any kind of priority or method of prioritizing who gets what parcel? We don't wanna get 4
That-
acres back in the swamp.
Right.
Sure you won't.
I'll let Scott,
We won't give you the swamp acres. don't worry.
Good.
But, I mean, I think obviously the public safety complex would be the most difficult to kind of cite.
Right.
So that would probably take the first priority.
Yeah.
The next would be obviously the senior center.
Okay, that's good. That's what I was kinda hoping.
yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of, I think, public forums and things that will take place to gather input right before the town just decides to move ahead and we're doing this, this, and this, right? So there's gonna be input from the community.
Yes,
some
and
degree.
we're probably gonna have to get some professional planning
Okay.
expertise as well.
Okay. Any other questions on?
When do we go and, what is it, OP? What do you call that?
OPM?
OPM.
Project
When do we
manager.
think about that?
I guess not until we have some property, and I don't even, because that kind of goes hand in hand with the design, so that's,
I feel like I've gotten mixed messages, like, oh, right away you want to go with the OPM. You know, whether you have the money or any of that stuff, because you need that, but I don't,
well, we need an OPM and the architect on board, so,
But the OPM usually comes first, right? Then,
right.
because they help us choose the
Right, right.
architect in
Yeah.
terms of what we're looking for.
okay.
So I'd maintain, maybe, Scott, you can shed some light on that too. I mean, so when do we run out and hire an OPM? And I don't think we run out and hire, I think we have to go to bid, right?
Yeah, we do that.
You have to go to bid on that?
Yeah, it's gonna cost more.
More than $10,000.
It's not gonna be cheap. But yeah, there's definitely a few out there that specialize in like senior centers, but we advertise it, go out to bid, go through the selection process. We are hoping to close, I mean, if everything goes to plan on the 25th, we're probably hoping to close in September.
So that's the next step for
That's
the
the next-
town, that we don't already have anything to do
Right.
prior
Right,
to that.
right.
So assuming everything goes well, I don't want to be back to square one with looking for another parcel of land.
Mhm.
Right,
So,
right, right. Everybody read the Gazette this morning, it was something, today's Gazette, somebody just is building a new senior center. Is it Hatfield, or
Deerfield.
Hadley, Deerfield?
Deerfield's looking
And
at
they're hiring some agency out of Arizona, a national
Huh.
agency to, you know, I just thought it was interesting.
Oh,
That I had never heard of before.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'll have to look
It's
at
in
it.
today- it's in today's Gazette.
They're trying to narrow down from the church, if it's Deerfield.
I think it's Deerfield.
Yeah, they got kicked out of the church, so.
Do we want to wait to hire all of that? I mean, once we have the parcel, yes, we have the parcel, but should we kind of get moving forward on our fundraising to see that we're
Yeah,
close?
sure.
Yeah, absolutely, I mean, that's
Absolutely.
down a little, is that, yeah, that's our next bullet, to
Okay.
talk about a little bit about that too. So, yeah, and so nothing we can do is as far as the process until probably we close. I don't know if we would start doing an RFQ or an RFP on an OPM prior to the final purchase.
Yeah.
Is there a time frame that they, like, if you hire the OPM, like they are this, whatever they charge is for this period of time? Or is it from start to completion? Because we don't know if start or completion is.
Yeah, I mean, we don't
Yeah.
want to hire them so early that, you know, we haven't, the
We've
design of the 56 acres or whatever isn't really ironed out, because they can't do anything really until we know.
Right, and do we want to continue to pay somebody for
Yeah, that's pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was
all
thinking
these
too.
years and, you know, until we are closer to.
Yeah, that's,
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll get a few different agreements to see
Okay.
what other towns have done.
I know Hadley and South Hadley, I think, utilize the same OPM, and we're very happy. I don't remember the name of the company at the time,
Right,
but.
they were happy.
Yeah, and actually, no, I think somebody that might not be Deerfield, I think Deerfield hired EDM.
Oh, they did?
Hmm.
Maybe it's not Deerfield then. It's in today's, though.
I
know.
read something actually a few
Yeah.
days ago, so I haven't seen today's paper.
EDM Studio
Is that in today's
for
paper?
Deerfield.
Oh, for Deerfield,
A
okay.
Unionville, Connecticut-based architect.
No, that's, yeah, that's not Arizona.
So that was our second,
Yeah.
basically came in second when we were hiring the original architect.
Mm.
So we'll go out to bid again, I think. We don't have to go out to bid, we could continue, but that's too soon to tell with that at this point in time. But yeah, I don't want to start paying for somebody that we don't have anything for them to do. But I know the process takes some time. So, anything else from that?
I guess I'm wondering if, well, not go that way, I'm just wondering if we should do another article with the reminder's gonna be late though, that it would come out
Yeah, I mean,
Thursday again.
it took 2
They
weeks to
probably
get
already-
this article in,
Probably
and,
already published.
yeah, and so it comes in, yeah, it comes out either late Wednesday, so it's kind of too late for that. Honestly, I don't know how widely read the reminder is.
I don't know, but I had one person I
Yeah.
remember that came up to me and said, 54 acres isn't big enough for a senior center? I was like, where are you getting that information?
That's what I'm saying,
That's the
he
way it
kind of
goes.
bounced around.
It's like, that's the headline,
That's-
that was the focus, and then
That was,
reading
yeah.
all the fine print was sort of like, they didn't, you know, pay enough attention to the whole story, so it's,
Yeah, they-
Newspapers, I think, so it's way, way back then.
yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah, I think I'm gonna spend a little time in the center and see if there, when the groups are in, if there's any questions about, that come up like that, because I know, Chris, somebody approached you and, that was at something at the senior center, so.
Correct.
And we have lots of handouts down there too to try to clarify everything, but, we want to make sure everybody understands that the before and after, the feasibility committee, the building committee, I'm not even sure it was really,
Well, and, you know, I think it's important that the reason we turned down Zero College Highway had nothing to do
Right.
with the property itself. It was the unknown
development that was coming up.
development that
And
was
that's what I
going
said,
on.
that's what it said in there,
You know.
but, you know, the way it was written, it's not necessarily clear, because I said at the time we were looking from the feasibility committee, there was enough acreage because there was a proposed plan to the planning board
Right.
that left us with not enough space, but, you know, people read too what, and think they
Yeah.
understand what's being said,
Will
so.
we have an up-to-date article in the next month's school
Scoop,
for July? Just,
I don't know, Dennis. It's, what's today's date?
today's date is,
The 17th.
17.
I haven't seen,
isn't it usually this week that she has to finish things for
yes,
the next month?
yes. So I haven't seen the current one. I mean, it's got a
Well,
lot
to just
next
speak to it, it would be nice to get a, where we are now, kind of.
Right, but we wouldn't have anything from the vote.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
true, you wouldn't have to
Yeah,
vote.
so whether it's July or August
You're
or
right.
whatever, September,
Right.
when, you know.
Certainly for the July one or whatever the next one is, I wouldn't.
That's when July is due this week.
Yeah, so it's before the vote would happen, so.
Yep.
Unless we want to wait, not print it till after the vote happens on the 25th, so, anyway. Okay, and unfortunately, Christina couldn't make it at this time, so. Fundraising initiatives, so we've done some fun fundraisers from the, we haven't, the Friends have held a fundraiser for the pickleball courts. I think they had a good turnout. I don't know exactly how much money they made, but it's not $1 million, you know, it's not $10,000. So these are, you know, smaller chunks to help support the COA. So the larger fundraising has not really started yet. I mean, some planning, they have a fundraising committee. I know we had talked about reaching out to the Ethics Commission to see if anybody was here, was interested in participating on that, to make sure they had clarity from individual by individual by individual, that members of this committee. So, you know, because they'll be open to ideas of ways to fundraise beyond, a few $100s, so.
I can send an email for myself, because I don't do just being on just this committee, what
Yeah.
limitations are.
Yep, and they won't let me ask for Darcy or for
Right.
the committee. It has to be individually, so.
I can do
I mean, we kind of got a sense.
I still have
From-
Scott's email, but I have to
Yep.
say,
Yep.
it's always, do I have time to look at this?
It's not that long.
I haven't erased it, Scott, so it's still there.
Did you do like a tournament at the pickleball?
It was a round robin. I think
The lottery
people had
tickets
great-
were,
They always, and
was that
they
for
sold,
COA too, or not?
yeah, that's Friends.
That was Friends
The
also.
lottery tickets are, there was a fundraising raffle that's been going on for like a month, so that'll be at the picnic, I guess, next week. They'll draw the winners to that, but people bought a number of raffles too. So I mean, it was a very successful first round robin. Thank you, Ted, for your organization. So any other thoughts or initiatives about fundraising?
Are we doing the golf?
There'll be a golf thing, and yes, I think it's September 6th or 4th, I don't know off the top of my head, but somewhere around there. I think it's that Friday, so if you have any idea, yeah, the 6th, Friday the 6th, so
May
get
I
your
ask a
foursomes
question?
going. Yes,
May I ask a question?
yes.
Yeah. So Chris made a comment, and which I overheard, about all of this federal money
Mhm.
that has arrived at the state
Right.
level, but it hasn't been distributed yet. Is there anything that needs to happen here, contacting our legislators to try and get on? I'm sure that everybody is lined up at the door waiting
Yep.
for that money. Is there anything that can be done at this point in time through our legislators to try to get on top of the list?
I mean, I have met with John Velas's
Yeah.
staff person to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We made that known, especially to
Yeah.
him, and then it was actually more for this public safety complex, but we did write in letters to Markey and Warren. They have what they call a congressionally directed spending possibility, which is kind of like their little, sort of their wish list from various towns. And, they asked for any thoughts, so we threw the public safety one in first, and put in a letter just asking if they would put us on their list of towns to be given some funds, but we haven't heard back on that yet. We did also went to Rich and Neal, and we did get a negative response on that one. But we haven't heard from Mark and Warren yet.
What is the negative response?
Just that they, what did I forget? It came up from Rich and Neal's office. It was, just too many good ideas, can't consider them all kind of thing.
One of those things, okay.
Whatever. It wasn't
Standard
negative to
response,
Southampton.
yeah.
It was just sort of, it was more of a form response.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Lots
okay.
lots of interesting ideas, but we can't manage everything. So that was a different thing though, but still, some of this bipartisan stuff, I'm attending various webinars there's a new office that's been set up at the governor's level. It's the Federal Funds Infrastructure Office, FFIO, and Quentin Palfrey's been moderating this, and they've had various webinars, but a lot of it has been things that we don't even qualify for. It's things from electric school buses to others. I mean, it's other stuff that isn't really right at the nitty gritty of what we need yet. And so I'm following that to see if there's something else that I keep asking. Is like, how do towns get infrastructure money to build things? And I'm not getting too far on it, but we're trying to get ourselves tuned in on it. So
Thank you.
So the grant, we are working, with the grant committee as well, so. We just gotta get the senior center building added to the public safety building.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the infrastructure is going for bigger things. Like, it's not that I shouldn't let it be said that money isn't getting distributed. It's just getting probably distributed for bigger things like highways and bridges and, the rail, east-west rail,
East-west
and all
rail.
those kinds of things, It's just not.
Maybe
at the
trickling
community
down
level.
to the,
Yeah, it's not yet. In my opinion, anyway, what I've found, I haven't found it trickle all the way down yet. But I could very well be missing lots of avenues, but I'm trying to keep my ears open on it.
So, and Darcy, I'll let you know when they have a fundraising meeting, if you get agreement. I mean, you can't show favoritism and that kind of, or use coercion and those great words, but idea-wise, there's nothing about collecting money by idea sharing and things, so.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking, if we took a look at, ELF was very successful over in East Hampton, which is like East Hampton Learning Foundation, and ELF, so it's East Hampton Learning Foundation, and over, I think that it was a 10-year period that they did fundraising. They did like an ELF ball, that, they did raffles and stuff. The ELF ball was like their biggest thing, but it was like a tiered year, and then when they got to their goal, they disbanded. But that's, something on that effect of,
Yeah, that would be great to share with them, if you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's
think
the
there's so many
information.
people fundraising as well, and so many really heart-wrenching
Sure.
purposes
Sure.
that,
I think
I think
music,
we're keen.
food, and drinks always work well, raffles, like those big things
Yeah.
tend to get, I know even like when I was involved with the snowmobile club, we used to do a spaghetti supper, which actually raised a good amount of money for a small,
okay.
thing, and it was, hiring a DJ, and we did that.
And where did you host that?
Well, many years ago at the Red Basket. So this was a long time ago.
Red Basket.
That, it's
Well,
more
you
than
can ride your
six,
snowmobile there.
Yes.
more than 16 years ago.
I missed
Yes.
the Red Basket.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, yes.
I never
But,
saw it.
now we have like Southampton Country Club, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
those sort of things, and,
Yeah.
spaghetti supper is a pretty cheap meal to put together.
It's just how much does the rental cost if people don't donate their spaces,
Well, and that's the thing, if we could get donated spaces or something, in the summer, maybe the park could donate, or, summer, spring, or whatever, different things.
It'd be good to find out what other towns have done in general for fundraising strategies more than the
Yeah.
spaghetti supper, a little bit, the next layer up,
Yeah.
and what's been happening. I mean, I keep seeing in the newspaper all this about the Jones Library in Amherst. I mean, they're looking at like a $40 million bill. It's like, where are they getting? I mean, I know,
they're struggling a bit.
Well,
I
they're-
think, yeah.
They're not.
well, yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, Amherst, in spite of its, persona as a
Higher
semi-wealthy
income level.
community and whatever, I mean, they live on students, basically. I mean,
They certainly do.
the number of months of the year where students are not there is a little bit different profile, I think, for the
Yep.
city. So I just, but you'll see some of these big, construction things happening in the general area.
Yeah.
How is everybody doing this? So and if you have any ideas, Scott, from anything down east that we may not know, down east.
I mean, we talked to Holyoke, the former senior center director who went to MCOA, Kathy. We talked to her about their fundraising, and it was a lot of letter writings to
Yeah.
companies that, have businesses in Holyoke, and, of
Yeah.
course, the banks, if you can get on their radar. So those are kind of some of the things I think they'll target. So we just have to, get through next week and get the property, and then we can,
Yeah, I think if we have the property, then we can set our goal.
Right, yep.
Later going,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of start like a revolving
Yeah.
thing.
because it's going to be a multi-year
Right.
project.
Yep.
Right.
As well, it'll take time for the design and everything, so we hopefully run parallel courses.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll let you know that. Let me know if you get a okay response back, and come to a brainstorming session,
Okay.
okay? I mean,
Yeah, I
it
forget-
doesn't have
I think
to.
I called last time, I had a question on ethics.
Mm.
And
Yeah, I called, and they call you back,
Yeah,
pretty
they call you
much.
back if I remember.
Do you ever get a written response at all?
I did not get a written response. I mean, they just told us to look at this case that Scott dug up and sent around and
Mm.
stuff, so. Okay, and any other suggestions or thoughts? I think we've, they've had brainstorming sessions, and it's probably time, because they're running two paths, basically, the Friends, the local fundraising to keep the center, support the center, and then a different type of fundraising for something like a new senior center building, so they're kind of two parallel groups to some degree, so. All right, anything else that can't wait till our next meeting. This is kind of a short meeting today, but I know you guys are heartbroken about that. But we're kind of a bit on hold until we pass the ballot next week, right? So,
Right.
anything else though that you want to discuss today that's not on the agenda? Any thoughts or comments or things you've heard or?
I've actually heard some pretty good feedback, I have to say. from
Okay, on the
people.
property?
Yeah, and people that were like, yeah, this is a good idea, and I talked to one person who, you know, said financially, you know, she's somebody that's not financially, you know, great position, but she's like, I feel like we need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can find and so that kind of was nice to hear that, you know, I know people are struggling, but it seemed like there was still, you know, people understood the need for it.
Yeah, I would applaud the select board for forward thinking and forward planning, because it's so easy to be caught up in, let's get through next budget season, and, you know, the vision, I think, has been kind of a first since I've been here in town, and I think it's exciting.
Yeah, it is, and I think people are, you know, there's always people that are naysayers, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
from what I'm hearing, the majority of people are on board with the purchase.
I had someone ask me, this is more of a Scott question, I guess. So we purchased the property for 2.1. And somewhere down the line, within the next 8 months or so, we sell 2 of the pieces of property on the commercial thing and get, say, $800 to $1 million. What happens then? This person was
Can
saying.
that be applied to
so
the
can that be
borrowing?
Are we gonna still go with, what was it, $40 or something on your, figuring out on
And
your
your
tax bill?
taxes.
How would that work out? Would then be refigured for everyone's?
Yeah, I could talk to Jen, but yeah, once, I think it'll take a little bit longer than 8 months to sell the.
Oh, I'm sure, could be 2.2 years or
Yeah.
something, I don't, but, this was a question
I
that
mean,
was
it's a
asked me,
20-year bond,
I
right?
had no
So
answer for it.
Sometime in that 20 years,
It's a
hopefully.
20
that
year-
And I
happens.
mean, it could end up being a 10-year too as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of up in the air at this point, I
Okay.
think, what we
Mhm.
we're able to borrow. But yeah, once we sell that money, we would be able to apply that towards the debt.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you'd end up refinancing,
Would it would be like a,
Yeah,
Would
Something
you
like
have to
that.
refinance, or is there no like prepayment?
no, you'd have to refinance.
Okay.
You can't prepay your, like
No,
you do
usually
on
not
your
on
mortgage a
those.
little bit. Okay.
Because if everything goes to plan, we'd probably roll that into the long-term public safety complex debt, the land purchase, and then we just use that money towards it.
I see, yeah, okay. Yep, thanks.
Yeah, it'd be a few years down the road.
No, I'm sure, but this guy was convinced, that was one of the selling points to him
Yeah.
on the property, that there were a couple things, it's possible to get some of that money back.
Mhm.
Okay. Good questions, so
It's
that's,
hard
you
to
know.
tell what anybody would notice, you know, in any kind of immediacy, you know.
right.
in
That's
their-
right.
As regards their pocket. allocation,
Right.
but-
Okay, we're gonna schedule the next meeting, and then we're gonna do a roll call vote to go into executive session to just approve the executive session meetings. So next meeting,
We're gonna try to get back on Thursday?
yeah, I mean, I think Monday mornings are a little tough.
A little
I
tough,
don't know. So I don't know how other people feel. Do you wanna, Thursday's not great for us, but we start earlier and earlier, so that's,
It's gonna rain this Thursday, isn't it?
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Okay, I mean, we could meet, well, we can't meet July 4th, so, I mean, do you want to meet after the vote?
Yeah.
I mean, we could meet on Thursday, 27th, which, since this is a pretty short meeting, or
Oh,
go,
the
Oh, this month.
27th of June?
yeah, 27th of June. I mean, after the vote to kind of just reorg and plan, or do you want to wait till the week after the 4th?
I can do the 27th of June.
Thoughts?
I'm not sure about the 27th for me, I'd have to check,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
It seems like there's
This would be
something.
like at noon time, or?
Yeah, it's noon, 12:30. 12:30,
12:30 is fine,
okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
So 6:27,
We may as well do it while it's fresh in our mind.
yeah,
12 o'clock or 12?
at 12:30
12:30 on the 27th.
on the 27th. Okay. Okay. So we need a motion to move to executive session. Bye, Ted, thank you for joining us.
By a motion to move into executive session.
Okay, Darcy, second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, starting with Jerry.
Jerry Hillman, aye.
Fowles eye.
Gasparini, aye.
Vogel, aye.
Kane, aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.